Hey everybody. So I wanted to get on here and talk about my favorite subject, which is food, because I have spent so many years trying to master myself around food. And so I know, I understand it all. And I just got off a call with a client and she was telling me about this story that I wanted to share with you guys because I know you'll be able to relate to it. So she was telling me that she was sitting on the couch and I think she was watching TV or something like that. And her husband came into the room and with a bag of chips. And like chips are like my client's thing. Like she freaking loves chips. It's like that's kind of like her nemesis, you know? And she hasn't been eating chips for quite some time, really, ever since we started working together and started doing this work. And so she said that this is the first time this has happened. She noticed that, so he came out with the chips and immediately she was like, oh my God, I need some chips. I want those chips. I need them. And she noticed the impulse and she noticed, like how she was feeling in that moment. She noticed that like, oh, wait a minute, like I wasn't even hungry. And all of a sudden I feel like I need chips. You know, she wasn't hungry at all. She didn't feel like she needed food prior to him walking into the room. And so because she was aware of that, like because she stopped and paused before she actually took action on the chips, she was able to actually say no and, and actually keep herself from going for the chips. And if she would have said yes to the chips, if she would have gone for the chips, that's okay, right? Like we still learn something from that. But the only unfortunate thing is like once you actually start eating something, that's when it's like really hard to stop eating, right? Especially something like chips, any of that kind of like carby, salty kind of junk food. Once you have one, it's like you want like a lot, because of that. It's like that, it just hijacks the brain. It just tastes so good that you just want more and more and more. So it's really hard to stop once you start, so it was just a huge celebration for her to say no before she went for the chips. And she was just telling me about it. And I was like, okay, like, let's get into like, we celebrated the fact that she was aware. We celebrated the fact that she said no, but to even elevate that even more, I asked her, I was like, okay, and she's going to get back to me on this. I don't really have the answer, but I was like, what was the feeling right prior to you saying you want those chips? Because the feeling is what drives everything. And so anytime that you guys notice that you're going for junk food or, even just food in general, it doesn't have to be junk food, but it tends to be more likely junk food, the more like intense the emotion is. But it can be like just food in general, like, and you're just eating out of boredom. And the reason why we tend to do that, why we go to food, like food is trying to fill a void of, something that we're missing. Like it's trying to fill a void of a feeling. And when I asked my client, what she was feeling, she's going to think into it or feel into it a little bit more. But she was really stressed out about these flowers that she's getting ready for her, I think, daughter-in-law's wedding or something like that. And so it's either that, like just the stress of like kind of worrying about these flowers, like looking pretty and stuff in a week, that actually drove her to go to the food. And she wasn't even aware of it, right? It's like you don't even notice that the feeling is there until you start to actually do this work, right? It's like you don't even notice the subtlety of like the anxiety that's in your nervous system or the frustration or, whatever feeling may be there. And most people think it's just like, I feel fine, but really there's like a subtle level of unhappiness or a subtle level of anxiety or fear or frustration or sadness or something like that. And that's going to be the thing that drives you to eat when you really don't need food. So it's being hyper aware of what is driving you to eat. And that's just like, there's other reasons of why we go to food. Like sometimes, we see it as something like as fun, it's like something joyful. And that's just our inner child coming out. Like it's just our like, our 10-year-old self that gets excited for cookies and ice cream and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just being aware of who's driving your actions. Is it you, or like, is it your higher self, the person you choose to be, the person you choose to live this, the person you want to be, Or is it like your 10-year-old self? Or is it your, your sad self, your emotional self? So, but the thing is, it's all great to understand this stuff. But you have to actually do the work so that you can actually be aware of when this stuff goes down. The more time that you spend with yourself, sitting in stillness, like learning about yourself, learning about like how you feel on a daily basis, what you think about on a daily basis, what that feels like in your nervous system, the more aware you become of what is going on inside this world, the more masterful you become over every single one of your actions, and especially food. And anything, especially food, working out, all that stuff. It literally is like the foundation to creating peak health and vitality, like is just becoming really masterful over your mind and body. So I just wanted to share that because I know a lot of people, like it doesn't matter if you have a meal plan. The meal plan doesn't do anything if you're not able to fix the emotion that's driving you to go to food in the first place, because it has nothing to do with the food. It has everything to do with the emotion that's inside of you that makes you feel like this food is going to make me feel better, right? And if you're not aware of it, it's always driving your actions. So you're always going to food, even though it's like, even though you have a meal plan to follow, or even though it's not what you want. So it really does come down to doing this inner work. So anyways, I just thought I'd share that. If you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to me. But this is the kind of the stuff that we go into in conscious fitness, because like I said, it's the root of everything. Every single time you go to food, if it's not like even real hunger, it's always driven by some emotion. So you fix the emotion and you start to learn how to feel joyful, or feel at peace, or you feel confident, or you feel grateful. Like you can learn how to live in these states so that you don't go to food to feel kind of that higher, to get that hit of energy, to get that feeling good, that hit of like feeling good. So yeah, that's the key. Anyway, so I'm running Conscious Fitness. We start next month in July, and I am going through applications. So if you guys want to apply for Conscious Fitness, it's a 6-month program, mind and body, complete overhaul. I basically teach women how to create fit bodies from the inside out, without needing a meal plan, a macro plan, no specific rigid workout plan. I teach you how to create a fit body with more freedom. So if that's something that you feel like you're ready for, if you're ready to break away from the diets and the obsessive counting and all that stuff, definitely reach out to me and we'll see if you are a good fit. I'll give you the application link, and we'll go from there. So anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.